Welcome into another live edition of The Point After. I'm Jorge Andres. Now, what did I say before the Panthers season started? 5 wins. Just get me 5 wins, and that, my friends, is a victory. After going 2-15 last year, you more than doubled your wins. You set a culture standard in the building. You got a new young head coach who got his players to buy in, and your first round pick, your top draft pick, your franchise guy, finally does look like a franchise quarterback. Let me show you how it all went down in hot Atlanta, where the Carolina Panthers clipped those dirty birds and crushed those playoff hopes. Picking up in the third frame, Panthers down 24-17. Bryce Young finding Tommy Tremble, 12-yard touchdown pass, and we're tied at 24. Later in that same game, Bryce Young finding David Moore, 9-yard touchdown pass. Carolina in control, 31-24, but in the fourth, Michael Penix Jr. would not go quietly into the night, finding Drake London, 21 yards, and the touchdown. We're tied at 31. Bryce's turn now. Young can't find anybody, so what does he do? He scrambles, turns on the wheels, and then runs it in himself. Panthers up 38-31. Young went 25 for 34, 251 yards, 3 touchdowns, also had 2 running touchdowns. But Bijan Robinson, he did it again. Another touchdown to tie the game at 38. So to overtime we go. Yes, sir. Overtime, Miles Sanders right up the gut. Carolina, they go on to win it 44-38. Atlanta eliminated from the playoffs by virtue of Tampa Bay's victory. And the Panthers looking like a completely different team. I mean, come on, man. 44 points? 44 points. Who is this team? Who is this team? Yes, there is a problem on defense. You cannot let another team throw 38 points on you, and you cannot let them hang 537 yards on you. But offensively, who is this team? Who's that quarterback? If there was a comeback player of the year in season award, it's got to go to Bryce Young. Look, he was tossing 3-yard checkdowns on every single play before he got benched. Andy Dalton came in, and then, out of pure luck, because let's be honest here, Andy Dalton was going to be the starter week in and week out. There was that car accident that injured Andy Dalton, and now Bryce Young got to start. He got his swag back, and like literally, who is this guy? Look at this. Bryce Young with the confidence, the swag to do it all. Right here, same game against Atlanta, finds his man, tosses him the rock, but he turns and celebrates before the pass is even there. You know what that is? That is nothing but confidence. Take a look again. He hasn't even caught it. Turns around, that's a touchdown, baby. The kid has figured it out. He's got that swag back. He's got that confidence. I mean, is it even a question on who will be the starting quarterback next year? Well, Coach Canales sure doesn't think so.
Yeah, Bryce is our quarterback. I'm so proud of the way that he just took the challenge and he just grew every week.
It proves what we can do. We have to be consistent. We have to keep going. There's definitely work to do individually as a team in the offseason, but being able to end this way is it's a great way to cap off this year.
Look, at the end of the day, Bryce Young is a completely different player. And yes, the Carolina Panthers are 5-12. They will have a top 10 draft pick. But if you take a look at the final draft order, it's the Titans picking up top, followed by the Browns, Giants, Patriots, Jags, Raiders, Jets, and yes, in the 8th spot, the Carolina Panthers. Saints are at 9, and Bears are at 10. Bryce Young mentioned it. There's a lot of individual things that need to happen. There are a lot of individual holes that need to be filled. So who could they pick? Well, look, I mentioned it already. The biggest problem on this team is defense. And with Travis Hunter, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, all probably going in the top 3, 4, or 5 selections, there could be some interesting defensive playmakers. Defensive playmakers like Jalen Walker, the linebacker out of Georgia. Abdul Carter, the edge out of Penn State. Michael Williams, another edge out of Georgia. How about Mason Graham if he slides? The tackle out of Michigan. I know a lot of people don't say that they don't need a corner, given that J.C. Horn is named to the Pro Bowl, but Will Johnson, a corner that's out there. Or how about Malaki Starks, a safety out of Georgia? And here's a good one. T-Mac from Arizona. He's a wide receiver. Yes, we did see Xavier Legette do some great work. We have seen the ageless Adam Thielen do some work, but they also need another receiver. Personally, I think they go pass rush, and they use that pick on Michael Williams, or they use that pick on Jalen out of Georgia. Or maybe if Mason Graham does slip, he becomes the defensive tackle that can stop the run, because that defense is in trouble. But in terms of offense, whether it be via free agency or whether it be T-Mac from Arizona or any receiver in that core, they could go that way. This team is different. This team has swag. And here's the best part. It's all about finding those dogs, right? Dan Morgan said it. New culture, new team, new face. It's about finding those dogs. Well, that top dog is Bryce Young, and he's leading this team. We got to find those dogs right now on defense, because you cannot let a team hang nearly 600 yards of offense on you. You cannot win a game like that. Maybe against the Falcons, which is why they're not in the playoffs. But at 5-12, that is a great way to end the season. By the way, add 2 more possible wins to that 5-12 record. Maybe they're 6-11 and knock off the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, which they almost did. Maybe they're 7-10 and also knock off the number 2 seed in the NFC, the Philadelphia Eagles, who they took to the wire and finally fell to. This team is changing. The swag is here. Head coach Dave Canales has done a great job to get these young men to follow suit and buy in. Now it's time for Dan Morgan and his team to work in the offseason to select the perfect people for this culture and this team. Look, my final thought is pretty easy. I'll take 5 wins for the Carolina Panthers. You doubled your wins from last year. Now double that for 2025. Give me 8. Give me 9. Give me 10. I want to see that. We'll see what happens in 2025. All right, my friends, that's going to do it for this edition of The Point After. The Carolina Panthers closing out their season with a final record of 5-12 and a great victory over your Atlanta Falcons. The Dirty Birds weren't flying on Sunday. Don't forget, folks, we're here every Monday and Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. You can find us by watching us on Apple TV, Fire TV, Roku Stick, or by downloading the absolutely free WBTV News app. You can stream us on WBTV.com as well. That's Mondays and Fridays, 1 p.m. Eastern Time on WBTV. We'll see you.